Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Elena Dyer, and I am the Territory Manager at GBM, which is one of the leading SAP partners in the English-speaking Caribbean. I am very honored to be with you all today as we present SAP CONCUR, which is the intelligent spend management solution that's going to really change your business processes when it comes primarily to travel management, expense, and invoice management. For some of you who may not know, SAP Concur is an integrated cloud-based platform which allows you to do three main things. This will be to streamline those expenses I just spoke about, allow you to save time and money, and most importantly, give you the visibility and control over these processes. So I'm joined today with a very, very strong team, but the star of the show is Mr. Andres Goyes. He is a pre-sales solution consultant for SAP Concur, who's going to walk you through very high level, but allow for you to see the robustness of the solution. Before we get started with Andres, just a few housekeeping. Any questions we'd want you to just drop it in the chat, and Maria and I would field the questions at the end of Andres's presentation. WebEx is also very interactive, so you can give us a thumbs up, raise your hand, give us a clap. And also, very importantly, this is going to be recorded, so feel free to share with the necessary team members upon completion. Yes? So thank you all very much for joining us today, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Andres Goyes. Andres?
Thank you, Elena. And good morning to good afternoon to everyone. My name is Andres Goyes. As Lena was saying, I'm the Senior Solution Consultant for SAP Concur for Latin America and Caribbean. I've been working for SAP for 9 years, almost 9 years already. So my objective today is that I can tell you a bit about SAP Concur and that I can share with you all my experience that I've accrued during all these years working with customers from all around the world. Okay. So first, I would like to talk about a little bit of the history of SAP Concur. As you know, nowadays, Concur is part of SAP. We were acquired by SAP in the year 2014, but this wasn't the case years prior because SAP Concur was born 30 years ago. This means that Concur as a company has a lot of experience integrating not only with SAP ERP, but with any kind of software or ERP that you may own. So one of our strengths is that we can integrate with almost any software in the industry. So that's quite important. When we talk about SAP Concur and what we are going to be focusing on today is all of those expenditures that are initiated by our employees. So for example, we're going to be talking about travel management and all of those spends that are a part of that travel, or we can also cover cases like petty cash or credit card management, etc. Some of the most common challenges that we see in the industry are, for example, long and complex processes with multiple tools. For example, we see a lot of customers in the region of Latin America and Caribbean that are still using Excel. We joke that Excel is actually our most fierce competitor in the industry because we still see a lot of manual work from our customers. So if today all your processes still include a lot of emails, a lot of Excel, the objective is that SAP Concur can automate and put everything within one single solution so we can automate that process from end to end. We also see things like employee dissatisfaction with manual and tedious processes. As I was telling you, the objective is that we can automatize this process from end to end. And actually one of our value pillars is that a customer end user experience, right? So that the user can use his or her cell phone or email or the web app as well to do everything from anywhere you are so that they can have a really good end user experience. We also have policy compliant and audit efforts, especially if we have a lot of manual work. This can be very difficult to keep an eye on. So the idea is that we can automatize this, and the SAP Concur solution is the one that controls that that everything is within policy compliance, and we have reports and everything so that our audit efforts can be a lot easier. We also have lack of visibility and control over the spend. If we don't have all the data in one single point of truth, that can be SAP Concur, it can be very hard to know exactly how much we're spending in our travel operations or other types of expenditures, right? And that's where SAP Concur shines, because if we automatize everything within the same solution, we are going to have everything, all the data we need to generate reports with our intelligence reporting, and we're going to have all the information we need to make modifications to our policies, or to have all the information we need, for example, for our taxes, or whatever we need, right? And finally, we have difficulty consolidating data and making decisions. As I was telling you, you are going to have all kinds of reports that are going to help you have all the information to take those difficult decisions when you actually need the information. Also, as I was telling you, one of our objectives is that you can use SAP Concur whenever and wherever. So we have, for example, a app that is available for iOS and Android, and you can access it from anywhere you are. Everything that we are going to see today, from requiring a trip or asking for permission or for petty cash or for whatever we need, we can do it from our cell phone or from our computers, right? Or actually any intelligent device. Having said that, I want to show you what is the scope and value of SAP Concur. In the top part of the slide, you can see that these are the main use cases that we have in our region. These are not all, but are the ones that we see that repeat themselves the most. So the first one is petty cash funds. As I was telling you, through our request module, we can do the management of petty cash funds. We can also do cash and credit card expenses. We can review the operation and distribution expenses, home office expenses, which has been very normal after the pandemic that we have. We have a lot of people working from home, so these type of expenses can also be controlled through SAP Concur. Maybe the use case that the industry knows us most for is travel and travel expenses. This is one that we're going to be reviewing today. And we also have mileage expenses, where we can use the intelligent app that we have to measure how much our cars are driving, and then we can calculate how much we have to pay for gasoline or deterioration of the car. Also, here in the middle part of the slides, we have a general process. This is the process that we are going to be reviewing today in the SAP Concur solution, where we are going to start with a travel request, where we are going to plan a travel. Then we're going to go through pre-approval, where we are going to ask for cash advance for this travel request. We're going to do budget monitoring and approvals. When our managers have said that our request is approved, is the first time that the company is going to actually spend money. Because when our managers approve, we are going to send the information so that the air tickets, hotel, car can be bought and reserved, and the cash advances can be delivered to the users that need it for that travel, for example. Then we are going to review the expense and capture and control. We are going to do this with a demo of our intelligent app. I'm going to show you from my cell phone how we can use it to capture and control the expenses that you have during a trip, for example. And finally, we're going to review the expense reporting, how we integrate with the financial part of the ERP to create all of those accounting documents that you need from the ERP side. And we are going to end the process with the data intelligence and reporting that I was talking about a few minutes ago. And in the lower part of the slide, we are going to see some benchmarks that we've defined from all of the implementations that we do yearly. We do more than 7,000 implementations per year. These implementations are 100% remote, and this is not because of the pandemic. This is something that we've been working with for the last 20 years with our methodology. And normally an implementation of SAP Concur can take from 3 to 4 months normally, yeah. As I was telling you about, we have four value pillars. One of them is the employee experience that I already mentioned, but we also have expense management, governance and compliance, and optimization and expansion. From the benchmarks that we've done with our customers, when one of our customers implements SAP Concur, we can see an 8 to $20 to 20% savings on the total spending for that customer. So the idea is that if you are interested in implementing SAP Concur, you can contact us. We can have a much more personal review and a demo for your process, and then we can determine how much of improvement range you would have for your specific case, right? And when I say 8 to 20% on savings on total spending is because we can, after implementing SAP Concur, you can start having savings from, for example, not having a reduction of duplicate expenses. For example, the system will help us control that the users don't upload the same receipt more than once, for example, so that we don't pay the same thing twice. Or we can have improved negotiations with suppliers with the information that we have in the system. We are going to have greater control over the cash spent, and everything that is spent through SAP Concur will be done within our policy. And the system is the one that's going to control it, and we are not going to depend of a human team to review and make sure that that's happening. The system is going to automatize this, and it will be very easy to control, right? So with that being said, I'm going to jump into SAP Concur Solutions so we can review how the process works. First of all, I want to mention that this is the first loading page that you will see when you log into SAP Concur. I would like to mention that SAP Concur is modular in the sense that depending of the use case that you want to have, for example, if you want to have petty cash, you don't need to implement every single module. For petty cash, for example, we only need requests to open a petty cash fund, for example, and then expense to report what we spend that money on, for example. But as I was telling you, the process that we are going to review today is going to initiate with a travel request. For this, we are going to be using our travel module that is very, very simple to use. As I was telling you, one of our value pillars is the employee experience. So we have designed the solution to be very easy to use. And for example, the travel module works very easily like any other online booking tool. For example, if we go to kayak.com to plan our vacations, this is going to work exactly the same, where we just need to input the city we're starting on and where we want to go. For example, I'm situated in Bogota, Colombia right now, and I want to go to Miami, Florida in the United States. I can select the different dates. So I'm going to look for June, for example. And I'm going to ask the system to find a hotel, and I'm going to give me 1 second, please. Is that I selected the wrong dates? Give me 1 second. Sorry, I was looking for the next year. That's why it was giving me issues. 2024. Yes. And now the system is going to connect with the travel agency that you have to choose. We can work with your travel agency as long as that travel agency is supported by the SAP Concur. So here, for example, is going to be showing me the different options that I have to fly from Bogota to Miami in the dates that I chose. And it's going to start showing me the different prices. The prices that we are seeing here is that the ones you already have pre-negotiated with the travel agency, right? As I was telling you, the travel module works very simple as a kayak.com, for example, but but the added value of the SAP Concur solution is that we are going to automatize the spend policy. So we can configure within the module any rules that you want so that we control exactly what the users can select and what they can't select. For example, we can have groups of users, for example, the vice presidents of the company. They don't have any restrictions. They can fly in first class. They can book a travel from one day to the next, and they have no restrictions. But for other group of users, for example, the sales group, they have to request their flights with 7 days or 15 days of lead time, and they can only book economy, for example. So whichever rules you want to configure within the system, we can automatize them so we can ensure that everything that the user sees and purchases through here is going to be within our rules. One of the ways that we can control this is with these types of alerts. For example, here it's telling me that I'm violating one or more rules if I choose this first one with Avianca, for example. I have very simple rules configured in this system. For example, the first rule is that if I choose a flight that is 10% more expensive than the cheapest flight, then I'm going to break that rule. This is only informing me that this is going to happen, and this type of alert will allow me to continue with the process, but it can trigger a new approval process. For example, if everything is within policy, if I'm choosing the lowest cost and I'm requesting my flights with the lead time that I need and everything is within policy, my only approver can be my manager, for example. But if I'm breaking one or more of these rules, it can trigger a different approval process. For example, in this case, I'm selecting the one from Avianca that is almost $1,000, and then there was from Delta, there was one with that costed almost half of that. So I have to indicate to my managers or my approvers why I'm selecting the one from Avianca and not traveling with Delta. And then my managers or my approvers will have the information to take a decision of if they accept or not, right? In that sense, uh, we use this as part of the process so it can trigger a different approval process. Also, we can, for example, set rules that for a trip that is more than $5,000, then it can trigger a different approval process where not only my manager will have to approve, but the finance team or even the CFO of the company have to approve because it's a high amount for that trip, for example. So depending on whatever rules you want to, on whichever rules you want to configure, we can do so, and then the process will guide the user through the purchasing of these tickets. I have the system configured so only until our approvers have approved, then we will be able to purchase the tickets. Until then, nothing will be spent by the company. So that's important because even though as an end user, I get to see and plan my trip however I want, still it has to go through an approval process so it can go through. But there are also customers that they tell us that if everything is within policy, for example, I'm asking for my trip with 15 days in advance, it's the lowest cost trip, and I'm following all the rules, then we can even have a process where if everything is within rules, then we don't even need an approver. That's also an option. There's customers that like to work like this. But it will all depend of how you work and how your business works within the company, right? Here, the system will guide me through selecting the whatever I want for my trip, and now we're going to be searching for hotels. The hotels part of the travel module works exactly the same. It will show me the hotels that are available in that city for the dates that I selected. For example, here I can see a map, I can choose, I can see the numbers, and I can choose whichever I want, depending on of where I want to stay. And it will also show me the list of all the available hotels. Here I can select view rooms, and it's going to show me all the rooms available, if it has a breakfast included, and as I go on, it will be a little more expensive. Here, I would like to also say that you can see on my screen that it's showing me Colombian pesos. That's the currency that is showing, because since I'm in Colombia, the system will always show the currency of the user that is using the system. So if I was located in the US, it will show me US dollars, or if I was located in China, it would show me yuan, right? And here we could also, I want to tell you that there's another type of restriction that we can do that is a red X. As you know, this yellow restriction is only informative. It can trigger a different type of approval process, but we can also have this type of restriction that is a red X, and it will not allow the user to go through with the process. This is quite important because depending on what we want to configure, we can block certain types of expenditures for our users. Uh, for example, in this system, I have this blocked if it requires an advanced cash deposit for the hotel. Since this is a demo, I cannot send money right now. So we have it blocked for this type of use case. But the idea is that during implementation, we will sit down with you and define which type of cases you want to have an informative alert and which type of cases you want a restrictive alert that will not allow the user to continue with the process, right? But to continue right now, we're going to go with the first hotel that appeared here is the Hilton Garden Inn. We're going to choose, again, I'm not choosing the least expensive one, so I will have to indicate why I'm choosing this one that is more expensive, and this information alongside with all of those other hotels that were cheaper will be sent to my approver so that they can decide. So here the system is going to guide me, is going to give me the information of how much it's costing. I can even add my hotel fidelity program if I want to accrue points with them, and the system will keep guiding me. Remember that one of our value pillars is the employee experience. So the idea is that the system will guide very easily the user so they can complete this process without any issues. Here the system will now show me the complete trip that I'm planning so that I can make any final changes and review that everything is correct. Here also, if I had forgotten, for example, to add a hotel, I could do it here, or I could add a car if I need a car where I'm going as well. Here I can see that my flight is already confirmed. Again, this is a pre-reservation. We haven't purchased any tickets. This is only a pre-reservation that the travel agency will save for us until the approval is made. Here I see the hotel confirmation and my flight back home. And here I see the totals that we are going to be spending. Here I can see the amount in US dollars. That's what the currency that is being charged. But it will also show me how much that is in my local currency. I click on next. Here I can give information about my trip. For example, we can give information of why I'm traveling, which customers I'm visiting, or which event I'm going to. So my approvers have all of this information. This part is completely configurable. If you need any more information, we can add any kind of information that you need. And finally, here I see all of the information for my trip, where I can review it one last time and confirm my booking. When I press on confirm booking, we have just ended the first part is with each, which is travel request. We are now going to go through the pre-approval process where I'm going to have to ask for cash advances. We've seen that in Latin America and Caribbean, due to culture, the cash advance process is required. Normally we do for the cash advance, we have to use the request module. And you can see that from the travel module, it automatically sent me to create a request for that trip, where I'm going to ask for a cash advance for that trip. So it's bringing the information from the travel module with the trip from Bogota to Miami, the dates of the trip, and it's also identifying the person that is creating this request. It's this information, we pull it from wherever you have the information for your company. And then, for example, it will identify that I'm part of the company North Run of the Colombia division. And the cost center of this person is the sales cost center in this case. But we can also affect any type of cost object within the ERP. So if you have an internal order, a project, or any other cost center, we can here select which cost center or object we want to affect within the ERP. And then when we are done, we can create the request where we can see that it brought the information from the travel module. Here we have the information of the trip with the identifier for the trip that we are creating. So we have everything within the same process. Here we can start asking for a cash advance. We can ask a cash advance in any type of currency that we need. So I'm going to ask for it in Colombian pesos here. I'm going to ask for 3 million pesos, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's not even 700 US dollars. And here, and depending on what you need as your process, here we can do many things. Here, a lot of our customers only ask us to ask for the money here for the cash advance, and then from the expense part of the process, the user can report how much money, how much of that money they spend on what. But there's also other customers that asks us that in the request they indicate how much money they're going to spend in which things. So for example, from here we could start adding, I'm going to travel to visit customers, so I'm going to be asking for taxis, I'm going to be spending meals, whatever we need for our trip. Here we can ask for individual meals, for example, meals or dinner. So we can start populating this information in our request. This is the manual way of creating a request for our trip, right? Where I can manually add each of these things. But as I was telling you, one of our objectives is to automatize this process from end to end. So we can also automatize this part of the process. If you already have rules defined for when someone travels, that they can spend 50 US dollars for meals per day and $30 for taxi per day, for example, then we can populate this information with the rules that you want to automatize, and then the user does not have to do this manually. They will be able, this request will be populated automatically, and the user just have to create the request. Then this will be populated automatically, and then just submit the request for approval. So once you already have your request, all you have to do is submit request. And here we see that the system will give me visibility of what's going on with my request. So I'm requesting almost 16 million Colombian pesos. It's been submitted, but it's in approval pending by Valentina Contreras. So now, Valentina, so as a user, I know that my direct approver, Valentina, is the one that has to approve right now. If we have more than one approver, here the user will see who's approving right now. So in case it takes a few more days or hours, I know who I need to contact so that they can approve my request. Also, depending on the travel agency that you have, here you will see that you need to approve this by certain date, because if you don't approve this by a certain date, the travel agency will not save the prices of the tickets or the hotel of the pre-reservation that we already did. So this needs to be approved by the 26th. So tomorrow by 6 a.m., for example. This depends of your negotiations with the travel agency. I've seen travel agencies that can save that price for 2 or even 3 days, depending on your negotiations. But now we're going to see how we can approve this process. So we know that it's approval pending by Valentina. We're going to change to Valentina's user. We see that Valentina has an approval section because she is a manager. She needs to have approvals. So we are going to review that she has one request, is the trip from Bogota to Miami that we were reviewing, that we just created. And here Valentina can review each of the sections that the user sent, how much he's going to spend on tickets, on hotel, on taxi, on dinner, or and any other things that the person included in the request. We can see that she can view the cash advances that the person is requesting. And here, Valentina can even review if she has a budget for travels for her team. She can review if she has the money to accept or not this travel. And then she can take a decision to approve if she agrees, or send back to the employee with comments in case she needs something to change before approving. In this system, I only have one approver, but we can, with the request module, we can configure as many approvers that you need. And as I was telling you before, the approvals are completely flexible depending on the case, on the use case. If everything is within policy, or if we are breaking one or more rules, it can include different types of approvers for each type of case that you want to configure within the system. But to move along, well, we have approved. If we go back to the request section, we see that my request has been approved. The user will get an email and a notification in his app that his request has been approved. And now we finished this first part of the process, where we went through travel request, we requested for cash advance, we saw the budget monitoring, and we approved everything that the user sent. When the line of approvers agree on everything, this is the first time that we're going to have any kind of expenditure for the company, because we send the information to the travel agency so that they can purchase the tickets, purchase the hotel and the car, for example. And we are going to also release the cash advance so that the person can have the money for the trip that they have planned. With this being said, we are now going to move along to the second part of the process. That's when the person is already in the event or is already in the trip, and we're going to capture and control the expenses of that trip, right? So to do this, we are going to be using the application, the SAP CONCUR app. So I'm going to share the screen of my cell phone. Please allow me 2 seconds to share my screen of my cell phone here. We are going to be looking into the SAP CONCUR app. The SAP CONCUR app is completely free for our customers. You can even download it right now. It's available for iOS and Android. And everything that we've done until now from the computer can also be done from our cell phone app, right? So here we can review the trips or even create a new trip. We see that we have the trip from Bogota to Miami that we created a few minutes ago. Here we can review our expenses, our expense reports. We can even do approvals from our cell phone. And this is quite helpful because it helps our approvers be more efficient with this process, because they don't need to be in front of a computer. They will receive an email with a notification that they have something to approve, or they will receive a notification in their cell phones so that they can open the app, review for approvals, and approve that from their cell phone. So that moves along that process a lot faster. Here we can also create requests. We can see the request that we just created from trip from Bogota to Miami. And we can even review our budgets if we have budgets assigned. But as I was telling you, what we are going to be reviewing is how we can capture and control our expenditures during a trip. To do this, we are going to be using the intelligent camera that the SAP CONCUR app has. It's the one on the bottom left that says Expense It. Expense It is an intelligent camera where we can upload or take pictures of the different receipts of the things that we spend money on during our trip, for example. So, for example, a restaurant or gasoline for our car or hotel or whatever we pay, we can take a picture. And then we say it's an intelligent camera because it has two very interesting technologies. It has OCR, which is optical character recognition, where the camera can detect the characters within the picture. So the user does not have to create an expenditure line within SAP Concur, but the camera will take the information from this picture and create the information on SAP Concur side automatically. So the user does not have to say, this is a dinner in this date, in this restaurant for the total amount. This information will be captured automatically and it will be sent to SAP Concur and start creating a spend report without the need of the user doing it manually. And the second technology is that this has a machine learning algorithm that starts learning every time we correct it. So for example, I have a picture here from a restaurant in Colombia where the total is 33,550,000 pesos. In Colombia, for example, a few years ago, this technology tended to miss a lot because it didn't know that Colombian currency had so many zeros. So this amount, usually it was $33.55. It thought it was US dollars. But every time someone corrected it, the machine learning algorithm learns, so it does not do that error again. And this technology works worldwide. So if I go to China and pay in yuan, the system will now detect that that's the currency and upload the information to SAP Concur. Here we can see that we upload the picture and we can start seeing all the information that it captured. So first of all, it's telling me that it's 33,550 Colombian pesos, that the expense type, it's a dinner, that's correct. The date, 12th of March of 2023, it takes this information automatically. It takes the information of the vendor, Sky Cafe, and it takes the information of where that vendor is located. So Medellin, Colombia in this case, right? So all of this information is acquired automatically and is sent to SAP, to the SAP Concur user interface. So now we have that information and can start populating an expense report with that information. So the end user does not have to create it manually, only has to take a picture and all of the information will start creating those expenditures from the expenses side. Here I have all of the different expenses I've had during my trip, for example, and I can start creating or sending these pictures or these expenses to a report that I already have created, or create a new report with all of these pictures. But we can also automatize this process again. So let me go back to the computer to show you how we can do this. Okay, here we're now going to jump to the expenses, to the expense module. As I was telling you, as I in a trip and I'm taking pictures, this will start populating this database of expenses. And here I can take any of these expenses or several of them at the same time, and I can move them to a new report or to an existing one. But as I was telling you, we can automatize this process as well. We have a user enable expense assistant, which is a virtual assistant that we can configure and tell, and with rules, for example, and tell it to create reports per month. So it will take all of the expenses of the month of May, and it will create a report with all of those expenses. And now the user does not have to create a report manually. It will be done automatically by this virtual assistant. And as we do this, for example, I'm going to show you now a report that I had already created. This type of report is the ones that the user virtual assistant will create for you automatically with all of the expenses you had, for example, during a week or a month. Here, we can start adding all of the information of the different expenses that we had for that month, for example, or that week. And one of the added values of this type of reports is that we can connect the cash advance that the company gave me, and it will let me know how much money I have expended from that cash advance and how much I have remaining. So if you remember, I had asked for 3 million pesos, and I still have 2.1 million remaining. So as I'm spending during my trip, the system will help me have visibility of how much money I have left to spend. Also, an added value that we have in SAP CONCUR is the topic of credit cards. If we have alliances with many banks of the region, where if we have credit cards assigned, corporate credit cards assigned to our users, and they pay with their credit card, the bank is the one that will create this expenditure line. So the user does not have to do anything manually. They just pay with the card, and the bank will send that information to that user's SAP Concur's user and create this line. So the user does not have to do anything manually. And for the company, this is very good, because we know that information is 100% true, because it's sent by the bank. The bank will let us know where the purchase was done, the date, the vendor, the amount, etc. Also, if the user took a picture, for example, for this line, if the user took a picture of a hotel for $518 on this date, automatically a system will determine that picture belongs to this line that the bank created, and it will complete the line with all of the information. So we now have confirmation from the SAP Concur camera and from the bank that this is actually what was purchased, right? And like that, and this way we can start creating our report. And once we know that everything is ready, we can send it for approval. So to do that, we just submit the report, we accept and continue, and before it's actually sent, it will show me the different things that I'm using from different parts. So for example, it will let me know that I only used 800,000 Colombian pesos, but from credit card, I spent almost 5 million Colombian pesos. This is so that the end user, and everyone who's interested in this expense report know how much money was spent from where. And now I just submit the report. And again, the system is going to give me a visibility of where it's going. So it's been submitted, and it's in approval pending from Valentina Contreras, who is my manager. So here I go to approvals. Now we see that Valentina has an expense report to review. We open the report. And here the approvers can review everything that is being sent on that expense report. And it will also indicate any with logos, give information from where that expenditure is coming. For example, this credit card logo means that this line was created by the bank, and we can see all of the information that the bank sent. We can also review each of the pictures that the user uploaded to the system, and the information that comes from the travel module. We can see that this person traveled with Avianca, that stayed at the Courtyard Marriott in Miami, and all of that information. Once once the approver has reviewed everything. Oh, in this moment we can also view budgets and take a decision if we can actually accept or not this expense report. And once the person once the approver has reviewed everything, it can take the decision to approve or send back to the employee. So now we approve. And we see that our example now has been approved. So now this is the last part that I can show you because I do not have an ERP to connect with. But once all of our approvers and our financial team are agreeing that that expense report is valid, we start doing the financial integration. As I was telling you, one of our strengths is that we can connect with any kind of ERP. If you have an SAP ERP, we have ICS that is a direct connector from CONCUR to the SAP ERP, and then we can send all of that information from CONCUR to the financial part of your ERP and start creating all the documents that are that you need from the accounting side to have all of those expenditures from your expense report reported in the ERP. As I was telling you, we can do that. We can do that with any kind of ERP that you might have. And that's how we automate the process from end to end, because we started from a travel request. We went through pre-approvals, asking for cash advance. We went through the approval process. We then made the capture and control of the expenses. We went through the creation of an expense report and the approval of it to then finally automatize the process to create all of the accounting documents that you need from the ERP side. The last part of the process is what I was telling you about, the data intelligence, where you will have a lot of types of reports that will be very helpful for you. So when you acquire the data intelligence module, you will have more than 200 reports already created and available for you that will give you information about everything that we just talked. It will give you information about for example, which are the end users or employees that spend the most money in the company and in what type of things they are spending the money. We can also see which are the cost centers that are spending money and in what type of things they're spending that money as well. We can also have types of reports that include taxes and tax stuff that we need to send, for example, to our government when they require it. We will also have all types of reports that will give information on the providers of services that you are using for this process. And with that information, you can go to those providers and probably negotiate better rates for those services. And another type of reports are, for example, you can know who are the approvers who are approving an expense report or a request without even looking for to that report. So this will help you train the approvers, identify the people that need actual training so that they can follow the actual process that the company has defined for this process. These types of reports you can see them live. You can create them anytime you need, and you can see them from your cell phone or from any intelligent device. Also, or you can also trigger these types of reports whenever you want, whenever you need. So you can ask these reports to be created once a week and sent to an email, for example, for the CFO, so that they have the information whenever they actually need it. So with that being said, we just finished the process that I have prepared for you today. Now, if there's any questions, I would like to hear you and to help you solve any doubts that you may have, and we can review anything within the SAP CONCUR solution if you want to repeat any of the parts that we solved.
Thank you, Andres.
Thank you.
Again, reiterating how important streamlining these processes really are, and that extra twist when it comes to data analysis, being able to measure and manage. So thank you for that, Andres. Maria, are we having any questions?
No, Elena, not just yet. So if anyone has a question or even if they want to comment, they can virtually raise their hand. We can open their mic or just go ahead and write it in the chat. So thank you, Elena. Not right now.
Just about 6 more minutes. So any question? I mean,
Yeah, we can go. Oh, so Barry has a question. So Barry, I will open up your mic.
yeah, you can unmute him.
So Barry, go ahead.
As Andres would said, we currently have an existing ERP system, Microsoft Dynamics SL. So I would imagine there is some plugin to allow the communication. So I'm seeing where it could be applicable, but I need to understand in terms of the licensing, the entry point in terms of cost. Could you give me an idea? Is this fixed cost? Is it a subscription per user?
Of course.
I'm trying to understand what would be what is my capex and opex to have such a solution running.
Of course. So first of all, yes, we can connect with Dynamics without any issue. We can do it via APIs and web services that we already have available for you. Or if you would rather do that, we also can do flat files. Well, whichever type of integration that you want, we can implement. And in regards to licensing, whenever you hear about SAP, you always think about amount of users or how many licenses I have to pay. But SAP Concur does not work like that. You do not have to pay any licenses. You do not have to install our software anywhere. We are a cloud-based solution, so it's a subscription. And you don't have to pay users either. So whenever you implement SAP Concur, all of your users will have access to SAP Concur. The thing that how we monetize SAP Concur is through the amount of transactions that you have during a month, a trimester, or a year. So, and the transaction that we measure is at the end of the process, one expense report. So it doesn't matter if you as a user travel 4 times in a week, if at the end you make one single expense report, that is the transaction that we measure. And of course, the more transactions that you use per month, trimester, or year, the amount charged per transaction goes down, right?
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Barry, where are you from?
I am from Trinidad in the Caribbean.
Okay. So am I. And what organization are we talking from?
IEL Engineering Services Limited.
Okay, I know it. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'm okay from my end, from what I saw.
Because we'll actually be able to give you a more specific pricing. But again, it would come with an estimation, right? So I will reach out to you directly and give you some more specific licensing metrics and licensing calculations.
Okay, I
That's
appreciate
okay?
that, Elena.
No problem.
Thank you so much, Barry. So if anyone has another question, as I said, we can open as well as Harry, we can open their mic up, or you can go ahead and write it in the chat. So if anyone else has one, or we can go ahead and with Simona, Elena,
Yeah, we can hand it over to Simone.
and warm up the audience for their questions. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mario. And while the audience is thinking about, great questions to ask the team, let me introduce myself. My name is Simone Wilby, and I'm with SAP. It's been almost 3 years, and I'm based in Jamaica, and I'm the business development manager for the English Caribbean in what we call the net new market, which are the clients that do not have our ERP. So I'm very happy to be here and really grateful for your participation. I just want to thank you and thank my team members here for organizing the event. I hope you found, what we presented to be very interesting and insightful. I hope that you're so interested that you will engage Elena from GBM and sign contract. And, I'm hoping that you that you would have learned, the full life cycle of CONCUR, from the travel to the expenses to the invoicing and of course the insights. So I don't know if there are any parting words, Andres, that you want to say before we do the official closing, or Elena?
Nothing from my side, Simon.
Okay. Elena?
I'm just saying thanks. We'll definitely, like I said before at the start, this will be recorded, and
Right.
you will get an email, so you could reach out with all the contact information, with my information, I believe, that you could just reach out to me directly, and we could have a more one-on-one discovery and estimation conversation. So thank you again, Simon.
Yes, and I believe that within a day or two, some survey will be sent to get your feedback on the session. So you can look out for that. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for your time. If there are no other questions, have a great day.
Okay.
Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.